Hi, welcome to our another vlog.
Yes, and please, if you haven't already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe and like this channel. The progress so far is now we are building up the third floor, which is really the ceiling or the roof of the second floor, which we're going to have a rooftop deck. So we don't have a formal third floor of the house, but it's kind of like a roof deck with some structures up there for like a pergola and a utility room and water room like that. But we call it the third floor. Right now, the progress is that we are pouring the beams and pouring the slab on that kind of third floor, or what is the rooftop deck. You'll notice that we are here together, and that's because we've decided to surrender finally to being a little bit remote. It was really good to be on site for so much of the time, especially at the beginning, wouldn't you say?
Yes, so I came back. It is because in the beginning when I was there, it was really, really fun to see what it looks like being on a construction and, while looking at the construction worker and then, okay, that's how they do it. And then that's, and then you are there every day. But then you don't have to. And I was really, I was like thinking about like, oh, if I have to be like here every day, and then I get really, really stressed and think about everything, like, the house, Airbnb, and what's going on, what's the problem with the thing, like every little small thing, because I have to check everything. So at the end, we decided to, it's better to come back here.
Yeah, we found that there was like a difficulty level to living locally, unless you have family or something that's right there, in a commute type distance to the job site. And so we found it was getting to be too difficult. So you're living in an Airbnb or you're living in an apartment that you rented. And this can be expensive. If you have a decent place to live, of course, you can get a place that seems a little bit unsafe or seems a little, has too many bugs in it or has no air conditioning. You can certainly get a pretty cheap place, but if you want a place that's kind of halfway decent, it starts to get too expensive. So we were finding that as we did the first few months on site, the expenses were like this 15% of the house costs. So, we were talking about that and we said, if you're spending that much money, you could just say, if there's any problem with the house, you can redo it using all the money that you save from not living on site for an entire year. So we thought that we would do the remote work, even though we sort of promised ourselves we would never do that again after our renovation project that we did remotely before. We finally surrendered and we just said, well, the cost is so high to live there. And so we said, at least for the civil works part, what they're calling civil works, which is pouring the concrete and pouring the like the slabs and the columns and all that.
All the fence, building the fence,
building the
and
fence.
the gate and all of that stuff, parking area and driveway. All of those are civil works.
Yeah, so we thought for that it was going, and I think a good thing to say is that if we had never been there, if we'd never gone to being on site for the first 2.5 or 3 months, then you would have a lot more questions in your mind. But if you do go there at the beginning and then you develop a sense of confidence in the team, if you don't have confidence, if you're there and you're finding like, man, why is nobody showing up to the job site or something? Maybe that point it's actually really good to stay on site because you're basically becoming a manager. Like, hey, where is everybody? But in our case, we got a pretty good feeling from the team, right?
Yes. So when I was there, I noticed that the engineer, he was there like every day, like from morning to afternoon, which is really good. And the foreman, he was there too, like every day, morning and afternoon. Except the architect, he can only go there like 4 or 3 times a week, which is, I think it's okay. But because of the engineer, he was there every day. And then you can see how they work. And then you can kind of say like, oh, it's okay to not like being over there every day for a while, like, 'cause especially, when you're like checking their work and so far, like when you look at how they work, it's okay right now. It's okay right now. So we don't know what's gonna happen within few more months, when I'm not there. But I mean, my family are there. They always check over there every, once a week or twice a week. But we told them that, you don't have to be over there like every day. And then so the good thing about that, when my family are there and checking like once a week or twice a week, they are bringing their merienda. I don't know if that's very normal in US to do that, but in Philippines, it's better to do that because you kind of like create the good relationship with the engineer and foreman and all the workers. It's nice that, we're giving them like a merienda once a week, which is they are happy to have that,
Right. And it's going to be an extra expense, the merienda item, but it kind of went along with our plan of being remote, which was we're going to go there. Your family can go there. They can bring a little bit of something once a week for the guys to relax and enjoy themselves. And the family can take video for us, like super close. And you can tell them, check out the stairs or check out the whatchamacallit. And then they'll do that. And then you can get that good feeling just from your family. So more like an independent entity. We also have our project manager architect, because we should clarify that the architect, he's actually hired as a project manager. So that's why he's there so frequently. Your architect, if you don't actually pay him to go as a project manager, I'm not sure if you don't do that, they probably wouldn't go. I don't know how
I think they go like just to check once a week. According to him, when they are like supervising just the site, I think they go over there once a week, not like 4 times or 3 times a week. But for now, it's good. And we'll see what's going to happen within a few months because I'm not there. But anyway, I was going to say before we continue that merienda, it's like it wasn't really in our plan to add in our, expenses and all of that stuff. But we just did it ourselves because, I feel bad because I know when I was there, they work really hard. And then especially construction workers, it's it's like every hour the engineer pay them like very small amount. So the thing that you could give them like a small amount of merienda, or it makes them happy, which is really, we're happy too. And it's good for us to do that.
I think so. And it's good to see them happy. Like, it's like a little break from just like, hey, just go there and be quiet and work and then go home. Like, this is like, oh, it's whatever day. And we're switching up the days too for the merienda. We're like, aha, it's on Tuesday. And then people have more of a surprise. So, but for your side, you have to calculate in, how many pesos per week, how many pesos per month. And then you're going to see that as a line item on your total expense of your house.
Exactly.
So we're really talking about being remote and how we can be comfortable being remote for the next few months. That is, the family can go to the site. The family can actually do something cool for the workers, which is bring a merienda day. But then the family can actually take videos and report back to us. So then you have certain sense of security of that remote mode, right? Because if you're going to go remote, now you have to worry about like, well, what if they're doing something that I don't approve of or whatever, or that's an error, right? Well, we're trying to say, well, we're going to save all that money from living, near the site. But we're going to say, get the video proof. The project manager or architect is also going to give us a one tour day. Like, okay, Friday in the Philippines will be the day that we meet the architect on video and say, hey, here's what we did.
Show us what you did do this week and done and all of that stuff. Right.
And then we also have administrative meetings. I don't know if we mentioned that before, where we have totally separate from the site visit with the architect and his like screen share on WhatsApp is what we're using for that. We have an administrative meeting for him, like in his office, where it's like, okay, let's look at all the money we sent, which is a giant, black hole of money going out the door. And then we're trying to categorize that and say, oh, okay, this was for, remember we were talking about the, I don't know, whatever, rebar, or there's a big thing now called trusses, which are the items that hold up the roof. They're making these. So you're sending money, and then we just want to make sure we know where it goes. Yeah, you remember our risk mitigation or our low risk approach to this was, we're not going to hand over 30% of the cost of the house. Oh my gosh, it bothers me it makes my head hurt to think about it. But you send that money over there, and I don't know what might happen to it. But anyway, we're sending like 10,000 or it turned out to be 10,000 at a time.
Once a week.
So as we said, we're making sure that we send that money as we go. So we're having administrative meetings so that we can allocate where did all the money go this week that we sent to the project folks, to the architect, or to the civil works people. Where did that go? Did it? We don't want it to just disappear. So we're having admin meetings with our project manager / architect every week to say, okay, we sent you this money, so where did it go? So long story short, we are okay for the civil works time period, which we're kind of finishing up now. The walls, perimeter walls, are getting done. The third floor, so to speak, is being poured. And so once we get to the point where we're putting in tiles and more finished items, that's going to be back on site, we think. We're going to wait as long as we can, but because of the expense we mentioned. But we think that that's important because, as you know, if you put the tile in all crooked, or if you have something that's not straight, as long as you're okay looking at something that's not straight or level or whatever, then that's okay. But for us, we want it to look nice when they put the tile in. We don't want it to be bumpy or anything like that. So that's the time we think we'll head on back. So, But for now, we're remote. We surrendered to the remote project.
Yep.
All right. Next item is errors and vigilance, and you being vigilant about errors. So way back last year when we were talking about construction drawings, I understood as a newbie to construction stuff and watching all the how to read blueprints and how to read construction drawings on YouTube. I understood that when you hand out those blueprints, it is 100%. You can just hand them over to your electrical guy and say, bye-bye, tell me when it's all done. And that person would do it the same way. Well, our solar contractor, who I've already started to work with, we've already brought him on board, and he's kind of working with the electrical guy. He noticed that there were these breaker panels, like they're called panel boards, PBs. There were 3 of them, and they were all labeled the same one: panel board 1, panel board 1, panel board 1. So this should not be that way, right? So we just wanted to let you know that it seemed like we had this paradox where during the design time, we were telling the architect, we found this error. This is really surprising that we found one little error. And it seemed like there was like a resistance to us finishing those drawings like perfect. Everything is absolutely perfect. And it seemed like people wanted to move to almost like a draft mode and then work out the details when they get there, which is exactly what happened with the electrical. The solar contractor received the blueprints, said there's 3 panel board 1s. Then, of course, you met with the electrical engineer, and he goes, oh yeah, one of them is 1 and one of them is 2. And the third one, we were just kind of figuring out where we would put the panel boards. That's why there's another panel board 1 in there. So it's like a draft, really. So just be aware of that. Push your team as hard as you can. And just, if you've watched the videos on electrical or watched the videos on YouTube for plumbing, you're going to have some kind of layperson's idea of what should be there. And if anything seems off, just ask them, hey, should there be 3 panel board 1s in here? And then they're going to go, oh, no, that's we're just working like that. But we're going to update it now because it's time for electrical. So just be very aware of that I don't know how your team is going to be, but for our team, it felt like there was a lot of this, like, we'll get it pretty darn good, but not 100%. And we discovered that when we went in and saw these kind of details. So, but you have to be vigilant. So if you're coming from, like, here we're in the US, and typically I think you would have a level of reliance. You would say, this is a professional architect. This is a professional electrical engineer. they're going to know that there should not be, they would call it out if there's 3 panel board ones, but you're really the one. In the Philippines, we've seen this with attorneys, we've seen this with the architect, multiple attorneys. They just, I mean, there are things that can drop out of your contract from one version to the other.
You have a lot of errors.
Yeah, so just be aware that you have to be vigilant. So if you're not going over something that's a month ahead of time and looking for things and circling things and saying, oh, what's this? If you get relaxed, you might miss something. That's basically as vigilant as you can be is how vigilant as you are. Everybody has a limit, but that's how it's turning out for us, is this acceptability of a draft kind of mode. So be vigilant about that. Onto that, the same topic is with our doors and windows. So we had sent our schedule, which is a list, like a door schedule, door and window schedule is what they call a list of doors and windows on your blueprints. That one went to one of our favorite, or our top pick for our windows and doors. And the schedule itself was not aligned perfectly with the actual floor plan, meaning that one of our items of being vigilant was we walked around the floor plan, right? I said, hey, we're in the first floor. Okay, I'm standing in the dining room. What do we see over here is this window on the right, and then there's a door right here. And then you go and you check the actual schedule, which is a different page on your blueprint. It will say, like, here's all the list of windows and doors. And then some of them, they might not even be your preference. Like, we don't really like the awning windows that you push out. We prefer the left-right sliders, right? Yeah. Well, some of them were just the wrong type of window for our preference. And so we corrected that on the blueprints. And even before we did that step, we were looking at what came back from our favorite window supplier, and even they had gotten it wrong from what the architect. So you have multiple layers of errors that you are the only person who's going to notice that, believe me. And so if you get an order with a bunch of windows showing up on your job site and it's wrong, and you're like, oh, I totally trusted my supplier and I totally trusted my architect, and the window schedule would be 100% accurate. No, I think we have a pretty good team. And so I'm suspecting that there would be more errors, if not the same number of errors on your project. So just check everything. Again, vigilance is going to save you, because I think you're going to pay in the Philippines. It seems like if you send a bunch of money, you don't know where it went to, or if you order a bunch of windows that were wrong in the schedule, or the supplier got it wrong, guess who's got the money? It's you as the home builder. And if you start asking these people in the Philippines to make up the difference with their money, that's like a big argument, because I don't typically have these expensive piles of cash to pay for your incorrect window order. So just, you're probably going to pay if you're not careful. Okay, the next item is our AAC block. So this is a real interesting part of the project, because our AAC block is arriving late in spite of our best efforts. So we went with this company called Block Tech. If you remember from the previous videos, Starkin was not giving us quotes fast enough. And we're always careful with people who don't give quotes quickly, because if they're not even giving you good response time in the quote stage, who knows what they're going to do after you pay them like 50% of the quote, right? If they end up giving you a quote and then you pay them a ton of money, then they're going to be even more relaxed, right? Because they got your money already. What are you going to do? So we didn't go with Starkin because of the delays of getting quotes. So we went with Block Tech, and we read on the invoice that, if you're out of, Manila area, it could take what we interpreted to be 45 days for the blocks to arrive. So the quote that we got from Block Tech said it was 45 days if you're out of the area. So we figured that it would be 45 days. Well, after we paid the deposit, and I guess there's something they have to do. I understood that they're actually manufacturing the blocks from our order. But they didn't say that, like, be careful, we might need an extra month to manufacture the blocks. So in spite of our best efforts to get the AAC block ordered way ahead of time, because we were waiting so long for Starkin to give us quotes, and we were trying to give them second and third and fourth chances to revise their quotes, we went with Block Tech. And then when we read the Block Tech information, it turned out to be even, yeah, like it extended beyond what they said in the quotes. I'm not sure what we're supposed to do in that case. We're going to call them over there today.
Yeah, later we are going to call them, and then we're not really sure what's happening now, because it was like we ordered it like before I came back here. It was like beginning of April. So let's see what's gonna happen. We'll update you guys about that.
And sometimes it's just a mystery. Like they say, oh yeah, we're doing X, Y, and Z, and then it should be 2 weeks from now. I'm just hoping it's not going to be like rolling delays, that they're actually going to get it done and get it on a ship. Because once it's on a ship, I guess you can say, oh, I know the ship's going to arrive in so long. You can get a shipping schedule of some kind. But now this hasn't even left the Block Tech facility yet. So anyway, just be careful about anything. I mean, we're in Palawan, meaning that, it's one of the lesser kind of delivery zones for most suppliers out of Manila. It seems like there's a lot of areas that easily get supplies. So you might have an easier time, but just be careful of anything that you're ordering from outside of your local area is basically the guidance that we would have, right? We tried, but in this case, they're just making up like, oh, we need another month. So it's okay for our schedule. So we're not syncing the schedule. We have other things to do, but just be aware that if something is really critical and that's really going to impact you, just be careful as you can be. Like that's what we're doing. We know we're not going to get through this with 0 errors or 0 problems. So this is just a problem that cropped up kind of out of our area of control. All right, solar. So if you're doing solar, make sure you coordinate early, because as we mentioned, we're pouring all the slabs and things. And a lot of that stuff, you need conduit or like pipes that they run, like they'll put these pipes into the concrete so you can just stick a wire through there really easily and it'll actually come out in the right spot. That stuff I didn't realize that solar needed that stuff too. It does. The solar part, just like the electrical step, they need to run wires through like the interior of your walls and through underneath the concrete slab and so forth to make things easy. Now, if you don't get that done, there are workarounds. You can like put wires like on the surface of your wall. Just I guess there's some kind of a wire conduit you can put, but it's not going to be as attractive. So I would say if you're doing solar, don't think of it like I did. I thought, oh, the solar must be at the end. Just stick it on the roof and it's done. It's like they have to get from the solar panels into where these other solar components are, the electrical components and batteries, and that should go through a wall to make it look great. And then the same thing about it has to go down to the panel boards on the first floor and all this kind of stuff. So coordinate your solar when you're coordinating your electrical, and then they'll work together to put pipes into the concrete. So yeah, don't think about it like much later, or else you might not have the options that you have earlier. Again, for solar, in our experience, being in the Philippines, just at the job site, the electricity is out of control, expensive. Right? Yeah,
when I was there, I don't know if I was just imagining, but for sure not. It wasn't wrong because it says on that, like I was literally like renting Airbnb, and so I talked to the owner because I asked her a discount for long-term stay, and I was gonna stay a long-term stay in Philippines, but I decided not to because it was because the electricity too expensive, and I paid like more than $300 for electricity for a month of stay. So that's really, really expensive, and it's a massive amount that I have to pay. And I was really shocked. It's like literally higher than US when I don't know how much we pay here every month. I believe it was like $75 or $85 a month, but not 300 over. I was really shocked, but that's the reason why we want to have 100% solar. Well, we're still connecting with the Paleco. That's the company in Palawan. So it was like, I was like, we cannot do this.
Yeah, and the service is not even like you would think with that much. It would be some like spectacular system that never has brownouts, but it was like, you know how it is. It's like brownouts every so often, and you have no idea how long they're going to take. So along with these super high expenses, you have brownouts on top of everything else. So if you're going with solar, which I really encourage you to at least look into it, and you're going to see a pretty big number about solar install. I mean, you can do it half and half, like some people suggested to us, like just do half for the local company and half for the solar. And we said no, because the longer you go, the worse it gets with the electrical costs. And you could have put that into a few more solar panels at the beginning of your house construction, but instead, if you wait and you pay your local power company $4,000 over the next couple of years, now that money's gone to that local company, and then you can't put it into your solar panels now because you already paid the local company. So we thought we'll just put everything into the solar right now and tell the solar guy we want primary solar, and the local company should be backup only. So if there's a big failure of solar equipment for whatever reason, but the way I understand it from watching YouTube videos is that it's basically no moving parts. In a solar panel, it just collects the energy and changes it. It connects the light. It's not like it's moving and breaking down all the time. It just goes and it creates power and it puts it into a battery. So we want to be primary on solar, and then right now we have only the local company as a backup plan.
Yes.
In case something happens, we don't know what, but after we go 2 years or something like that, where we have a good track record of solar production, or maybe we need to add a few panels here or there or something like that, then we can say we're disconnecting the local company because we've proven that we can be on solar. But for now, we just have the company as backup. But you can choose whichever you want. You can just say I want to reduce my cost of the local company, but to us that was still not enough for us, because you're still wasting thousands of dollars and getting like brownout type service. You might as well just stick that money right now. So if you have the money, consider solar, and don't believe your architect and your engineer. Talk to the solar people directly.
Exactly. And now we how many panels we're having now? I think
we're up to 52
panels.
Yeah. And so 2 inverters, 52 panels, and 4 batteries, which is a good chunk. But what our solar guy is doing is he's trying to say, like, well, what if you have the entire house full of people? They're all running the air conditioners. They're doing laundry. They're, the water, they're all taking showers.
Plus a swimming pool.
And the swimming pool. So he's trying to make it so that we don't hit the local electric company up for anything, because that's what we told him to do. And so, like I said, the solar panels are not super out of control expensive, and neither is the inverters. I think the batteries are the big things that are expensive. But we're doing it that way. So take that for what it is. But if you have a larger house, like our house is for kind of like for maybe 10 people in there or something like that. So yeah, you just make your own decision about who you're paying your electrical budget to. But we feel like putting it in now and then making your own electricity. Man, I'm going to be clicking on the air conditioning anytime I want. And it's going to be, everything's going to be powered up. So we'll let you know how it goes.
Yeah, and then we'll let you know about the cost for the solar.
Yeah.
Later on.
So another thing, just a side thing about money, is that, as you know, we're paying, week by week instead of giving them a chunk of money. But just make sure that I don't know if you're a person who invests in the stock market or whatever, but as you know, if something is sitting in the stock market, whatever happens in the world, basically, at that time is going to affect your budget. And the stock market at the end of 2024 was doing so well. Stock market at the first or second quarter of 2025 here, it's fluctuating, and there has like a lot of ups and downs, a lot of downs actually. So we had only prepared like 50% of the money that we would need, because we figured, we're going to be in 2025, we'll just let the money ride in the stock market. No, don't do that, because when the stock market went down, as you may know, if you're following that kind of thing, now you feel like you lost, a bunch of money. You don't want to sell right now, but then you're stuck because you need money for your project. So I would say just get most of the money that you need in cash or something like that, so you won't have giant fluctuations. Just wanted to let you know that, because it actually happened. And then any geopolitical events, there are things that are happening in China, things that are happening in Europe. Any of those things can come out of the blue and wreck your budget if you're not in cash. So just word to the wise, we actually were, a little bit nervous to what was happening in the first quarters of 2025 because we weren't in cash for the 100% of the house cost yet. All right, final item, pool contractor. So I guess now that we're halfway through the house project, that's when we're supposed to start building the pool. And like what happened with the AAC blocks, you have some people that are giving you quotes right away, and some people that are like, you have to kind of bug them to give you quotes, which I don't think is a great sign. You're like, hey, don't forget to send me that quote. That's the first time you ask. Hey, I thought you were going to send me the quote last week. And then the third time you're kind of, you're trying to be diplomatic or whatever. But if they don't send a quote, it just means they don't have time to do your project. They don't have their business organized enough to give you a proper quote. So we're kind of crossing off the list those folks that you have to bug about those things, because then you're going to end up bugging them about their work on the pool anyway. And so we're trying to get our quotes and we're making our final selection, but you also have to have your architect or whoever's helping you manage your project make sure that you see that they're apples to apples comparison on their pools, because one of our contractors looked low and it turned out that they didn't give like a jacuzzi heater. They're like, omit that. And then of course the price goes down, and then the price might be higher later because you have to pay for a pool heater, or a jacuzzi heater, that's not included in the quote. So just be aware of those two items again, and just, we have to get this thing done. We have to start building that pool pretty soon. Mm-hmm. We just want to see the final quote. And that's where we are with that. It's going to be fun to see the pool construction. Huh?
Yeah. So we are going to start build a swimming pool in June. We are thinking about that. Once we select our contractor, then, we can proceed to, start the swimming pool.
And the pool thing, it's the same. This is the reason why the cash item is coming up. Is like that pool people, they want a bunch of money. And we're going to try to make that the same approach where we don't pay them that much money. Yeah. But sometimes they have to hire they have to go buy a bunch of stuff, and you have to give them a little bit more than you want to just to get them. That's the way it is on solar for sure.
It depends. It depends on how much the cost for the pool contractor. Because if example, if it's 2.5 million, whoa, and then they will literally need that amount of money. Well, not literally the whole entire thing, but they will ask maybe 85% of that.
And the same with the solar guy. The solar guy said, hey, can we just pay you a little bit as you go? He said, well, I have to literally go out and buy these inverters, these batteries. So I'm going to need that chunk of money. So there's a certain point where you're going to have June coming up, which is pool contractor, solar guy, Windows.
Everyone's asking money from us.
So you got to be ready with your money, and then hopefully it's controlled. And then you say, okay, I knew this was coming. I knew this was part of the house cost. This is money that I had ready to go. So don't freak out.
Yes, don't freak out.
You want to control it. You want to control it, of course. But if it all comes in 1 month, like it seems like June for some reason, all these items are coming. The AAC block will be delivered.
Solar,
and then you have to pay the second part of that.
Yes.
You have to order the solar. You have to pay the pool contractor to go buy his stuff.
And then Windows.
So you're going to see a spike, and we didn't see
it. And plus the engineer, he's asking weekly payment.
Yeah.
So that's that. Include that too, and plus the architect pay.
Yeah. So, there's going to be spikes, and June is definitely going to be a spike time. So, just be aware that that's going to happen. So anything else you want to add to the viewers before we kind of had a long session here, but we thought we'd give you a good thorough rundown.
It's a long video now, so we should probably end the video now.
We can break this into, next time we'll break it into several videos instead of putting everything at one time. But hopefully we helped you to see some of the items that we're experiencing now, and then it'll help you plan a little bit better when you're on your project as well.
Yes. So anyway, thank you for watching our Ein and Barry vlog. Yeah. And then we'll see you next time.
All right. Take care.
So there's start to frame all the retaining wall. All the way down there. So I think tomorrow morning they are going to pour concrete inside, and that's We're all going to put all the way to the top there. And I'm not sure, I'm not sure if they are going to put hollow blocks on the top or all retaining wall all the way. So I'm not sure. So this is gonna be the bottom of the lanai. This one here. So this is gonna be all lanai here, and then that one they all going to put the dirt back from there to here, all the way there. There, they are pouring concrete. Yay! Second floor. So now they are pouring concrete on the retaining wall and hoping they will finish it by tomorrow. That beam on the front where you can see, that's what they will put hollow blocks. And that's the engineer, the one that is wearing red. And the foreman is that one, that walking guy over there. So they're here every day. I'm here. I feel like I'm on top of the world. Look at the beautiful view. It's actually nice and breezy here. So they are done pouring all the concretes on that frame, all of the frames. And now they are trying to remove all the frame. And this is gonna be their next one to do. And they're still doing that. Did you see that guy down there? They're still finishing the fence, the wall. Yeah, they finally finished the retaining wall on this side. It's like, oh, basically where the gate starts. And all the way down there. Down here. So they are finishing that wall too. They're pouring concrete, so it will be like retaining wall all the way to the top. Here, this is what looks like the inside. They are finishing this all. As you can see, yesterday it was full of frame. And that one there. And there's the engineer. Let's go talk to the engineer. Hello, good afternoon, engineer. April 15th. That's what they're targeting, to finish the second floor. And then they will starting columns for for the second floor and going to third floor. So I can't wait. And the engineer said they will be finishing, well, according to him, it will be finishing by maybe end of May. We have a roof by then. That's what he said. And then by June, they can start tiling, I think. That's what he was telling me today. So we'll see. I can't wait. But finally, I'm here in the back. I can see the back here because I haven't been here in a while. I think probably within few weeks or something, like 3 weeks or so. I haven't seen the back because they cover it with a frame and all of this wood frames, so they cover this, so I cannot go through here. So now I finally can see what's happening here in the back, and they're still finishing the wall here. In here are septic tank. This is what looks like our septic tank. And then this is what looks like here in the back of the house. See, we're almost done with the thing here. That one, that's what it looks like. And I'm trying to be careful here, make sure I don't hurt myself. So yeah, that's what it looks like here. And that's the pipes, I guess. I'm not sure. That's probably for the septic tank, I believe. Or from the pipes for the retaining wall. I'm not sure. I have to ask the engineer about that tomorrow. So yep, I want to film as much as I can do. It's because once I go back to US, I won't be able to see the house being build progress every day. So they're all have retaining wall all the way down there, and they are trying to pull back the dirt because so our neighbor can go through here. That's what they're trying to do. They're trying to put back all the dirt back to normal. I think they all have to dig this one here. It's a little bit higher in this side here. That one next to the tarp. I think they're putting back the frame again so they can finish to pour concrete here on this side. And here they are taking a break and having some merienda for all the workers, which is really good for them, and they really enjoy the merienda once a week. So there they are all finished the beam. So they put all the concrete on the beams, and then they're actually finishing that one. And this is gonna be our stairs here going to the third floor. And then that one over there, dining room area, and then the maid's room, it's all the way over there in the back. Oh, and then outdoor kitchen, it's there. And this is another room, and then this is gonna be our common bathroom. So after that, they're all going to pour concrete, and then they are going to start columns again. After columns, and then they are gonna repeat it again, the same as this one here. It's exactly the same like this. And then after that, I think they are going to put AEC block. So yeah, and they're still finishing the outside retaining wall, and this side, and this side here, it's gonna be retaining wall, because that one, it's over there. They're all finishing this week too. So yeah, they're coming down. Look at Tia. And this is what looks like the first floor. For now, it's hard to see because it's all like that frames here, so it is hard to see. Yeah, this is really deep down there. So this is what looks like the retaining wall outside, and then that's our neighbor's gate. And they are still finishing this one here, although the other one, the other side, it's almost finished. But where you can see that beam all the way to the top, that's what they still have to do it. They still have to pour concrete all the way to the top. In here too, I think that's all. They are going to start putting hollow blocks, that from where the retaining wall stops, and then they're all going to put hollow blocks there. That one over there, that's all our retaining wall. I'm gonna miss this place. So here they are done with the concrete on the second floor, and they even put the plumbing and all the pipes in. So here, this is what looks like the second floor now. In here, they are done with the retaining wall, and then they are going to put the hollow blocks on the, when you see that one where ends the that rebar there, that's where all they are going to start the hollow blocks. And then they are going to do the gate next. In here, they are starting the columns again to connect to the third floors. In here, this is the view of the house on the other side, starting the base of the retaining wall on the other side. And finally here, they are done pouring the columns for the concrete. And then after that, they are going to build the third floor. Here, finally, they are starting the stairs. They finally done with the concrete, pouring concrete on the stairs. And that's what looks like on the second floor, where the stairs going to be. And here, they're almost done with the retaining wall on the other side. So here they are getting ready to put the frame again to pour concrete, and then they are going to finish all the columns. And here there's the front gate and that area where they are connecting the retaining wall. And this is the view of the back. And when you can see that thing, that's where the ocean view in that front. And this is what looks like the front now of the house. They are going to start the gate soon here. So this is what looks like the house now, within 2.5 months.